All right, starting off with the Dallas Stars and Florida Panthers, Game 8 of October 24th. Let's go into the predictions of last video. Ooh, these are rough to look at. So Quinn,
not quite what we expected.
So Quinn, you said if Dallas wins, it'll be 3-2. You said if Florida wins, it would be 4-2. That's a little closer than what I guessed. I guess Dallas, if Dallas were to win, they'd come out 5-1. Because I figured if Dallas was going to win, I figured that one was going to be a blowout. And then I said if Florida was going to win, I believe I said it was going to be, a tough game. They'd pretty much steal it just because of their big bodies and how they established the physicality in the first game. But I said they would win 3-2. Granted, let's double up Florida's score to 6-2. Jeez, that was one of those games that if you didn't drink and you watch that game, you now drink, and your liver hates you because of that game. Right off the bat, let's just go right into the Demir's suspension. We didn't really talk about this much. I figured we'd wait for this video to come out. How'd you feel about the suspension?
I feel like 2 games was too much. I feel with him getting the misconduct penalty and the game misconduct, it was enough for maybe 1 game.
Right. I don't know. I was of 2 minds about it. I figured since he doesn't have a history, I also thought 2 games was a bit too much with no priors. He has no fines or anything like that, but I also understand what the NHL was doing with that suspension. It doesn't matter if it was malicious or not. The NHL is trying to cut down on all hits to the heads. It's all about player safety these days, which I completely agree with the NHL that it should be about player safety. But I also think that this was a message to players saying, look, we are taking all hits to the head serious. I understand where it comes from. I would have been happier with a game suspension because of how Dallas's defense played in this game. I would really like to see Demir's back for the Anaheim game, but looks like they are going to have to do some more shuffling in that. So the tone of the game right off the get-go, Dallas comes out firing on all cylinders. Florida makes that penalty, and Dallas cashes in like 6 seconds into the power play. I think after I'm trying to think of how to word this. They got up, they played great, and then something happened in the first period that changed the game for everyone. Do you know what that play is?
No, go ahead and tell me.
That would be the Nichushkin 2-on-1 with Alexiak. I feel that play. I
figured you were going to say that.
I figured that play at that time in the game changed the tone for the rest of the game. I thought I was of 2 minds on that game, on that play too. I think with Nichushkin being an offensive, offenseman, that he should have taken the chance to shoot that. Then again, I definitely
think he should have shot too.
I think Alexiak actually had a really good chance on. I thought it was a really good pass. I thought Alexiak played it really well. I mean, hell, he almost scored on that. But Montoya outplayed him and guessed right. And
it kind of looked like Alexiak had his head down the entire time he was shooting too.
Well,
So I think if he would have taken like an extra little peek up, just like a split second,
I think,
but, it's still an overall good shot.
Yeah, I thought it was a good chance. Either way, I would have liked Nichushkin to take that shot. But then again, I mean, it was a good pass. I thought it was a good chance all around, but I do think with the play from Montoya on that goal, or on that shot, I think that changed the tone for everything in that game. It showed that they weren't going to get rattled because of that first early power play goal. And you know what? And a lot of the pregame stuff that Florida was saying, most of the Florida players that got interviewed, they were talking about this game against Dallas being a must-win. And you know what? after that little breakdown on that 2-on-1, they came out and they played exactly how they wanted to. They played this game like it was a must-win.
Yeah, Dallas really didn't feel like they kind of wanted to continue their streak a little there going into the second half of that first period.
Right. So what, in the first period, how would you have rated, or not really rated, but what did you see from the defense all around?
Terrible play. It seemed like we were too focused on trying to pinch in, and as you can see from the game, it cost us a lot, especially with the Yager goal. Klingberg tried to pinch in, keep it in, goes around him, and Yager and I believe Huberdeau.
Yeah, I think that's who it was.
On a 2-on-1, and I mean, when you give Yager that amount of space, bad things are going to happen.
Right, and going into that goal, wow, great pass. On that goal, you looked at how Kari played that goal, and you just had a feeling like there was that little screech of terror that kind of just roamed in over you, that I think Stars fans felt that was going to be a precursor to how the rest of the game would go. I think all three of Kari's goals were terrible. What was that? Wow, that was terrible. I think all three of Kari's goals were terrible. I thought he had bad positioning. Oh, yeah. He was fighting the puck.
If you look at the Yager goal, like whenever they do the replay, it seems like he never got set into place. Because whenever they show like the back view from Kari, there's tons of open space, and Yager just has no problem roofing it over him.
Right, and the fact that Yager had bobbled the puck coming in on Kari, and Kari still wasn't ready for the shot, that goes to show you that it just wasn't his night. And you know what? It just wasn't the Stars' night. He was just awful, especially on the second goal. That little whippy shot that comes in and then just handcuffs him when he tries to go glove side, and it just kind of goes over by like the middle of his bicep. It was just one of those. It was one of those sightings that we saw too much last season that we would like to avoid, and this is the reason why we have Niemi. Like, because we saw way too much of that last season.
Yeah.
And let's talk about how I think it is now official that we can call Patrick Sharp snake bitten.
He's the new He's the new Hinski.
Yeah.
He's the 2015 Hinski. I don't think this guy's ever going to score a goal. He had two glorious chances within 30 seconds of each other. It was ridiculous seeing that. This guy cannot buy a goal in the Dallas, and yet this guy used to score goals against Dallas like it was going out of style.
And now once you put a Dallas uniform on him, he's just like, nah, I'd like to get a goal, but you know what? I'm just going to hit 50,000 posts when it comes to it.
I mean, at least his play is like not diminishing. Like he's still getting in there. But man, I feel like as soon as he gets his first goal, I feel like he'll open up.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, his total ice time was 22 minutes. I mean, that goes to show you that he is playing great. But, geez Louise, this guy cannot score for the life of him.
So how do you think the first period's overall breakout went?
Terrible. I thought for like the first 5 minutes, I thought we were doing things great. But then we tried to do too many fancy things. We pretty much were doing what Pittsburgh was doing last game. You saw it clear and evident whenever Jamie Benn got the puck in the corner and then tried to cut in the middle of our ice in our zone in front of our net and then turns it over. Like it just goes to show you that they were overthinking things. They were trying to be too fancy, and I thought that's what led to a lot of giveaways. And
what kind of pass is that?
This is the first time that I have maybe seen a team that was credited for 20 giveaways. Can you believe that? 20 giveaways.
I can in this game.
Well, yeah, I mean, this game was absolutely terrible for giveaways, but when's the last time you saw a team that had 20 giveaways? When I checked the stat sheet last night, I was like, I knew it was bad, but wow, I didn't expect it was that bad. And surprisingly, Klingberg was not noted for any giveaways, which I thought was a little weird, since I thought he was kind of fighting the puck pretty hard.
Oh yeah, I hate to say it, but Klingberg kind of was way off his game. I think Oleksiak was the best defenseman in the entire game. Him and Oduya.
Well, you go ahead right now and you explain yourself.
If you look at Oleksiak's play, I'd say all the way up until the last 10 minutes of the third period, all he was doing was playing his game, his physical game that we've all wanted to see from him. He's covering the front of the net. He's playing strong against people. He's not letting them go to the net. And then you have Nemeth, who's fumbling the puck. It looks like he is fighting it almost.
Yeah,
and whenever he gets the puck, he makes rinky-dink passes.
Yeah, Nemeth was by far, I think, our worst defenseman. And I was telling you last night, I can see why a bunch of people were saying he was our worst defenseman in training camp, and it shows. And that's why, and this is a big reason why he's been scratched for 2 weeks, because he just seems like he's fighting the puck. And what I didn't notice, I noticed halfway through the game he changed his number to 15, which, like you said, that's not a defenseman's number.
Maybe the change in number messed him up.
That could be it. You really, I mean, no one's wearing 37 to my knowledge. So I'm not sure why he would change his number like that. I'm not sure how big of a superstitious person he is, but I'm thinking maybe he shouldn't have changed his number.
I remember I was telling you that towards the end of the game that I thought that we should send him back to Cedar Park to get him playing, but I had also forgotten that he's on a one-way contract now, so he'd have to clear waivers.
Yeah,
so,
and he's not gonna do that.
It's as much as it sucks, but all this sitting out, I feel, is hurting his play, and he definitely showed it in the last game. I feel we should bring Yoki Paka back in the lineup, put Ben back out there with Yoki Paka, and move Oleksiak to Oduya, because him and Dimmers kind of played a similar game.
Yeah. I completely agree. I was saying that last night in the game thread that I fully expect to see Yoki Paka back in the lineup and then keep Alexiak in the game. I was actually quite surprised that they elected to bring Nemeth and Alexiak in. I thought maybe that was too much of a gun jump to bring both of them in. Granted, it is Florida. We are Go ahead.
Well, I feel the reason why they brought both of them in is for that physicality game that you're going to be missing with Dimmers. Because if you look, like, Dimmers and Goligoski are probably the two most physical defensemen we have, and Alexiak and Nemeth are supposed to be that Bash brother dynamic duo that are supposed to be physical all the time.
Right. And also I thought it was a weird move to go back to Kari to have him come in net. I understand that they're having a 1A, 1B conversation with these goalies, but Niemi was playing so well. Why not just ride that out until he has another, Colorado breakdown? I understand that these guys have been starting goalies and they're paid like starting goalies, but whenever you have a hot goalie like that, you don't mess with that. I just didn't understand why the goalie change. I thought it was too much of a leap to bring Kari in. And then you could tell that the Stars were completely out of whack for that little play in the second period that they were caught with only 4 guys out there for a good minute. You could tell.
What was it like? Fiddler came off the ice after a shift, and
then no one
went back out.
Nobody went back out.
Fiddler himself went back out
and joined the play and actually broke up the play. That he went in, he got off the ice, and then a minute goes by, and then he's like, well, fuck, no one's come back out here. I mean, that just goes to show you just how out of whack the Stars were tonight. It just was not pretty all around. The Stars played, I'll say gracefully, for 8 minutes. I'll give them 8 minutes that they played good, decent hockey. But other than that, they just... I felt bad for anyone that bought a Stars ticket to that game.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that Ben was getting upset, too. He was getting frustrated. He started playing away from his game a little bit there.
Yeah.
With the turnovers. Trying to be the captain that's going to make everything better. Which, I mean, he's good at doing, but sometimes, you just have to play that simple game. Don't force it, and just ride it out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You once you get down like that, you can tell that players start gripping their stick just a little tighter because they want to go out there and they want to even things up. But sometimes you just have to go with the flow and let things come to you and not force anything. But, I guess sometimes you have to grip the stick a little tight to try to get back into the game. It was a very uncharacteristic game. And speaking of uncharacteristic, I thought the emotion that Jason Spezza displayed after his turnover that turned into a goal. Do you remember what he did on that?
Oh yeah, he pulled the old Cooper frustration that I used to do whenever I let people score.
Yep, it's almost like the hockey gods saw the game in Pittsburgh and saw that Perron turned it over to Spezza, and then Spezza got a goal right off that turnover, and then the hockey gods said, okay, that was too easy. we're going to make you turn it over now, and then we'll see how you respond to it. And I was like, it's so uncharacteristic to see Jason Spezza just kind of blow a gasket like that and snap his stick over the post. But I understand his frustration. I mean, you always like seeing the frustration from one of your top players, because you're like, you like seeing them respond like that because they actually care. But it was just very uncharacteristic that I thought. And going to what was characteristic about the Stars, how about that fight with Antoine Roussel?
I feel like it was his. He felt it was his responsibility to spark something. I guess he's known as our 100% fighter. That's always gonna mix it up. We know Jamie Benn can fight, but you don't want him fighting whenever you're down 5-2,
right,
or 4-1, or whatever the score was at the time.
Yeah, but I thought what I liked about that fight, how it looked very, like, visceral. Did it not? Like, I think his name is, what is it, Gudbranson or something like that?
Yeah.
That he, it was very visceral, and it looked like he was just yelling at Roussel the whole time they were fighting and stuff like it. It was a good spectacle. Like that, oh my goodness. That's why you have fighting in hockey. It explains all the emotions. Like if someone has never played hockey, I guess they will never understand why there is fighting in hockey. But it's stuff like that that lets all those emotions out, and it's a big momentum boost for your team. I would have called that fight even. And that's kind of being...
That's kind of... I feel Gudbranson... I'd say it was about 60-40.
Yeah, I mean, given his...
Roussel got his hit in.
Yeah.
But...
I'd say it was even only to be nice because of the height advantage that Gudbranson had. He just over... Wow, my guys just skating into each other. He just towered over Roussel, but it was a great fight. I thought it was very entertaining. And it just wasn't just one of those lame fights where, someone turtles or they kind of just go into a big hug fest. Like, it was an all-out fight, and you could tell that both players wanted that fight. Now, let's go. I want to talk about some of the post-game stuff. Like, Benn's comments after the game was... I liked hearing that. He just pretty much flat out and came out and said, we didn't deserve to win. They didn't show up, and a lot. So I think it was Mike Heika that asked him the question. Usually when a team comes off a long road trip, the first game back is typically a rough one. And Ben just comes out and says, no, that's just an excuse for the teams that lose that first game. And in professional sports, that is an excuse. Like, Ben owned up and said we didn't deserve to win, and it was refreshing to see that. And Ben's not usually known for giving reasons. I don't want to make it sound like that's what I'm saying, but it's just refreshing to see that a professional athlete's not trying to give any excuses. He's putting the blame on the team, and that's what Ruff was saying too. The details killed us, and that's why they have 20 giveaways. They only had 6 takeaways. So I mean, they were giving more than they were taking. So that was the ultimate downfall to the Stars. They had just too many mistakes. It just was not pretty. What else? What did you notice? Anything else about the game?
Just this game just really hurt my heart.
Yeah, usually we were we were joking about how if we weren't doing these videos, this would have just been one of those games that I think in sports fans in general, I think they associate, like, if a team gets down, it's because of them and because they're watching the game, so they would change the channel just to see if the outcome would come. I think a lot of sports fans will do that. I know most sports fans have a little superstition when it comes to their teams and if they're doing bad. But last year this would have been a game that I probably would have changed the channel. And it's not because, like, I'm a bandwagon Stars fan. It's just, you knew this game was out of reach, and it would just only continue to hurt to continue to watch. So it'd be like, ripping the Band-Aid off instead of just being gentle by changing the channel. So, I mean, the first star of the game, I completely agree that it was Montoya. He came out and he stood on his head, and he's played really good against Dallas. And fun fact that
wasn't his goals against 1.25 or something.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous
coming into the game.
Yeah, it was something ridiculous like that. And if you didn't tune into the broadcast last night, we actually got a little fact from Razor that, if a lot of people didn't know, that doesn't live in Texas or in the Dallas area, there used to be a junior team called the Texas Tornado, and there's two goalies that in the league that used to play for the Texas Tornado, and they played out of Frisco, Texas. It's where the Stars training facility is. That Al Montoya and Ben Bishop were the two Texas goalies that played on that team. I thought that was I knew Ben Bishop played because we actually went and saw Ben Bishop play at a Tornadoes game once. But
back when they were in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I didn't know that Montoya was a Texas Tornado. So I thought that was a nice, fun factoid that Razor brought to light on that. And there's not much else to this game that you could really just harp on. I mean, the one bright spot about the game was Jamie, but when we talked about it, I mean, Jamie wasn't really all that bright either, to be honest. I mean, he had our two goals, and he was the one Dallas Star that hit a post and went in. I mean, goaltending, it wasn't the team that we've seen for the past 5 games. We didn't get the stellar goaltending. We didn't get the outstanding offense. We didn't get the great play of defense. I mean, it was just all around a terrible game. But you know what? These are the games that winning teams have to go through. This is the adversity that tests a team. And better now to get this game out of the way and for them to put it behind them and learn from this game than to have this game come within game 60 and then this derails the whole season. Now, I'm not saying this game right here is going to derail the season, but better to have it in game 8 than game 68.
It's a growing pain.
Yeah. And every
I think I read in the Reddit things, one of the commenters just said that everybody needs to have faith and calm down a little bit, because this team was not going to go 81-1.
Yeah. No, if anyone,
that's not going to happen.
If anyone thought that we weren't going to lose a game again, that is just straight. So I want whatever they are smoking. That's all that I want to say about that. But yeah, I mean, it's just this is a game that winning teams go through, and the team is now better for having this game. And you know what? And just because it's against Florida, I don't think that's a sign either. Florida has a much different team this year. All their young players, they're a year older into the season. I mean, this isn't a team that you just go in and say it's an automatic win, especially since the 2008-2009 season. Florida is now 5-1 in Dallas. Like, Florida loves coming to Dallas because they win in Dallas, and it dates back to 2008-2009. So, see, and then my play in this game right here just only goes to show you that I'm so frustrated with how the Stars played last night.
Hey, the Chuskin actually scored a goal for once.
Yeah. So, let's go into the ratings. What would you rate last night's Dallas Stars game?
D+.
D+. Okay, so it was teetering on C- and D+. Or you would just say, no, that's a strong D.
No, that's a strong D+.
Okay. I gave a rating.
Terrible goaltending from all three, and defense play. Passing was sloppy. Couldn't break out of our own zone. The only upside from it being not an F was Jamie Benn scored 2 goals.
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote down a D. I'd say it was a strong D. Started off great, had good 8 minutes, but then everything fell apart and they didn't respond at all. So it was a D. Let's talk about the next game, Dallas Stars versus the Anaheim Ducks. We all know the Ducks very well over the years. What are your predictions for said game with the Ducks?
Well, knowing that Anaheim has been shut out in the past 4 games, I'm gonna say they're gonna come out and try to prove something with Dallas, knowing that the history that we have. But I still feel Dallas will change it up. They'll get their win attitude back, and they'll come out. If they win, I say 3-1. If Anaheim wins, it's gonna be. I feel it'll be a shit show like the last game. I feel it'll be like 4-0 for some reason.
Ooh.
They'll get their first shutout against us.
Yeah, I also think since Dallas knows Anaheim very well over the years, granted, a lot of our players aren't around anymore that played against Dallas or the Ducks whenever we were in the Pacific Division. A lot of these players know that we lost to them in the first round of the playoffs a couple of years back. I think Dallas will turn it around. Ooh, I'm not sure what goalie. I think Kari goes back in to try to build up his confidence again. Don't quote me on that. I think
they're going to bring up Jack Campbell.
Oh, God. Don't even get me started on him. I think Dallas will turn it around. I'm going to say the game will be 4-2 Dallas if they win. And I'm going to go... If the Ducks have just been terrible all season. They're not really getting anything out of them. I'm going to say 2-1 Ducks if they win, just because of how bad they've been this season so far. So yeah, I think that'll do it for this discussion. It was just an all-around rough thing to watch. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment. If we're doing anything wrong, anything you want to hear, talk about, let us know in the comments. Until then, we will see you next time. Go Stars!